December 18th, 1944. The Ardennes forest, near Bastogne. The cold was a physical thing. It was an enemy, as real as the Panzer Grenadiers, hiding in the endless, snow-choked pines. Inside the M4 A376 W. Sherman tank, named Audrey's Promise, Staff Sergeant Elias Thorne pressed his gloved hands against the steel of the turret ring. The metal was so cold it burned, even through the wool. "Engine running, Skipper?" The voice of Rabbit, his driver, crackled over the intercom. It was thin and reedy. "Keep it running, Rabbit. Just let it idle," Eli said. "If that block freezes, we're a 33-ton paperweight." "Wasting fuel," mumbled Fix, the bow gunner, who was more mechanic than soldier. "A cold engine is a death sentence," Eli countered. "We're no good to anyone if we can't move." They were part of a desperate, thin line. A few Shermans and a company of infantry from the 101st Airborne, holding a critical crossroads. They were, as the newspapers would later say, surrounded. To Eli, it just felt like being the last rock in a freezing river. "Kid," Eli said, looking down at his new loader, a replacement barely 18 years old named PFC Gale. "You awake?" "Yes, Sarge." The kid's voice was a whisper. This was his third day at the front. "Good. Stay that way." Eli's gunner, Preach, was motionless, his eye pressed to the gunner's sight as if in prayer. Preach was a quiet man from Alabama who read his pocket Bible by the green dash lights. "Anything, Preach?" Eli asked. "The fog is thick, Sergeant," Preach said, his voice a low rumble, "and the Lord's breath is upon the land. He maketh the trees white." "He also maketh the Germans invisible," Rabbit muttered. A sharp crack echoed through the forest, followed by the distinctive brrrrip of an MG-42. "Contact!" Eli yelled, dropping onto his commander's seat. "Preach! Traverse left. Rabbit, be ready to move. Fix. Scan for infantry." The turret whined as it turned. Audrey's Promise was a 76 model. Her high-velocity gun gave them a fighting chance against a Panzer IV. But Eli knew what was really out there. He had seen the new, sloped armor monsters. "I see it," Preach said, his voice suddenly sharp. "Half-track, 200 yards, trying to cross the road." "Gunner, he! Half-track, fire! On the way!" The Sherman bucked. The 76mm cannon's report was deafening inside the steel box. Eli watched through his periscope as the high-explosive shell detonated, turning the German half-track into a flower of orange flame. Men scattered from the back, running for the trees. "Fix your show! Coax!" The 30-caliber coaxial machine gun clattered, spitting tracers into the snow, forcing the Panzer Grenadiers back into the cover of the forest. "They're probing," Eli said, his heart hammering. "Just probing. Rabbit, pull us back 20 yards. Into that depression." The tank lurched in reverse, its engine growling, settling into a hull-down position behind a small, snow-covered ridge. "Nice shot, Preach," Eli said. "The Lord provides," Preach answered. "Kid," Eli said, turning. "You okay?" The kid was pale, but he was already pulling another shell from the ready rack and slamming it into the breech. "Loaded, Sarge. AP." "Good lad, good lad." The woods went silent again. The only sound was the high whine of their own engine and the chattering of Eli's teeth. The probing attack was over. The real one was coming. Part 2. The Gray Ghost. The fog did not lift. It thickened, swallowing the world. For 6 hours they sat. They ate cold rations. They rotated watch. The cold deepened. "Skipper," Rabbit's voice was urgent. "Listen." Eli strained his ears. Above the idle of their own engine he heard it. a low, heavy rumble. Not the high-pitched growl of a Sherman or a Panzer IV. This was a deep, guttural thrum. And it was heavy. Very heavy. "Kid, make sure that's armor-piercing," Eli said, his voice flat. "It is, Sarge." "Preach?" "I hear it, Sergeant, but I see nothing. The fog is a wall." The sound grew. It was a predator. Eli knew that sound. He'd heard it once before, in France. It was the sound of a Maybach engine. "It's a panther," Eli whispered. "Or a tiger." "Lord have mercy," Preach breathed. The ground began to vibrate. Suddenly, a shape materialized from the white mist, not 150 yards away. It was a phantom, gray and massive, its long 75mm gun sniffing the air. A panther. "Preach, target, straight ahead, fire, fire. On the way." The Audrey jumped. Eli watched the tracer. It sped true, and screamed off the panther's thick, sloped frontal plate, vanishing into the sky. A ricochet. "It didn't even scratch him," the kid yelled. "Reloading!" The panther's turret, slow and menacing, began to turn towards their muzzle flash. "Rabbit, move, now, right, get us in those trees." Rabbit didn't hesitate. He jammed the levers. The Sherman, reliable as a mule, spun on its tracks and lunged forward, crashing through the smaller pines at the edge of the clearing. An 88mm crack. It was a tiger, not a panther, Eli realized with a sickening jolt. Tore the air where they had been a second before. The shell hit the ridge and exploded, showering the tank with frozen dirt and shrapnel. "He's in the open. We're in the trees," Eli yelled, scanning.
"He can't see us, but we can see him. Preach, find him." "I see him, Skipper. He's turning, looking for us." "Don't fire. Don't you dare fire. Wait." The German Tiger. I sat in the crossroads, a giant. Its commander was visible in the cupola, scanning the trees with binoculars. "Rabbit," Eli said, his plan forming in a desperate flash. "See that game trail, to our right? Can you take us down it?" I think so, Sarge. It's narrow." "Do it. Slow. Don't break a branch if you can help it." The Sherman crept forward, its tracks crunching on the snow. They were moving parallel to the crossroads, hidden by the thick forest. "Now, Rabbit," Eli commanded. "Hard left. Right at him. Bust through the trees." Audrey roared. She smashed through a line of young pines and burst into the open, on the tiger's flank. The German commander, shocked, screamed at his crew. The massive turret began its slow, ponderous turn. Too slow. "Preach! Side armor! Fire! On the way!" The 76mm shell flew true. It struck the tiger's flat side, right below the turret ring. It was a perfect shot. The shell punched through the weaker armor. For a second, nothing happened. Then, a bright orange jet of flame shot out of the commander's hatch. "We got him!" the kid screamed. "We got him!" "Reload!" Eli roared. "Reload! Rabbit, back into the trees. Now!" They reversed just as the tiger's ammunition cooked off. The turret blew clean off its ring and landed upside down in the snow. The crew of Audrey's Promise was silent for a full 10 seconds, just listening to the secondary explosions. "Fix," Eli said, his voice shaking. "Status." "We're green, Skipper. Engine is good. Tracks are good." "Preach?" "By the grace of God. A clear shot." "Kid? Loaded, Sarge. AP." Eli let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. He had just killed a tiger. His cheap, mass-produced, high-profile Sherman had just killed a legend